Aye, kuwe kuwa maduwe.
Aye, kuwe maduwe.
Aye, kuwe kuwa maduwe.
Aye, kuwe maduwe.
And I'm curious, I'm just going to shift gears a little bit.
Sure.
How did you get involved or hear about the Brotherhood of Elders Network?
Brotherhood of Elders. I have a good friend, Arnold Perkins.
Mm-hmm.
Arnold and I go back. I met Arnold probably in 83, 84. Mm-hmm. And he was one of the brothers who started it. Him and some other folks. Mm-hmm. And so one day he asked me if I would come, if I'd be willing to come to a retreat. And when it first started out, the Brotherhood of Elders was just elders. You had to be, when I joined, you had to be at least 60 years old. I think I just turned 60. And, you know, so I'm a big believer in black folks trying to help black folks. And that's what I kind of saw in the Brotherhood of Elders. And at that particular time, we was at the retreat. We went around the room and we asked how the folks ended up getting to the meeting or to the retreat. Mm-hmm. And about everyone there just about said Arnold Perkins. So that's how I got to the Brotherhood of Elders. And so I've been a member, I'm 60, I'm 72, so about 12 years. Wow. And you know, I've seen the Brotherhood morph and change. Now we're our intergenerational group, and which is much better. I think it's good that each generation kind of works with a group and see how we can be supportive. And so that's how I became a member.
Interesting. And how would you say the Brotherhood of Elders Network has impacted your life or had maybe any changes in your life, something that you've noticed? You mentioned it starting off mostly elders and then becoming intergenerational now. But is there anything, like you mentioned the retreat, is there anything that had like a lasting impact on you from joining?
Well, I guess the biggest impact for me, and this is something that one of my guiding principles, I believe that we should be willing to volunteer to serve. And the Brotherhood of Elders has provided me that opportunity. Mm-hmm. You know, I used to be the chair of the education committee, been chair of different committees. I'm on the health and wellness committee now. But it gave myself and it offers other folks the opportunity to serve and learn how to work with other folks. And I was talking to Cole this morning. When you're working with folks and you're trying to get volunteers to do stuff, you can't order folks. You can't beat them over the head and make them do stuff. You know, you have to develop an atmosphere that creates that they want to do this just as much as you want them to do this. And that takes the art. And the Brotherhood is very good at helping people understand how to work collaboratively together. Mm-hmm. You know, when COVID-19 struck, there's a group we call just the African American Rapid Response Circle. I've been a part of that. Out of that, there's a medical group called Umoja Health. Now, I was one of the founding members with Umoja Health. Umoja Health started with tests, doing COVID-19 tests, bringing tests to the community because people in the black community and the Latino community were not trusting of other folks coming in. Right. And so Umoja Health has grown. You know, I don't participate on the regular, you know, they still go out and do stuff on the weekends. I just don't have that time. Mm-hmm. But I'm still part of that coordinating effort. You know, so, you know, there are a lot of good things that is coming out of the Brotherhood. And one of the things that I haven't been involved a lot, but to some degree I have, is the Marcus Garvey plan, where we're trying to raise money so the money can be reinvested in the black community to improve the black community. So that's, and being around like-minded men, elderly and younger, you know, it's a good opportunity, because one of the things that I don't like hearing people saying is, that'll never happen, or the people who are the naysayers who say this won't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, what are you doing to try to make it happen?
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the programs the Brotherhood worked on, Devon Bowden had a program, it still exists, I think, in Richmond. They were called the Shooters. These were young folks who were actively killing each other, and he started pulling them together to have meetings and to know each other, and they were given a stipend. So it kind of goes against what policing says. Why would you want to pay criminals not to be criminals? But that's kind of the model. And we were brought in as to be part of the elders, the people who would talk with them, to try to build trust. And so I think that's one of the things that the Brotherhood of Elders has established itself as a trust agent. You know, the City Hall, you know, the brothers who were in the Brotherhood of Elders, Arnold being one, Joe Brooks, they have a pretty good reputation in the Bay Area. You know, they've worked with some of the nonprofit foundations, and so when they put their name and they bring, you know, other folks with them, they're listened to. So that's and I'm happy that I've been able to do my part. I mean, we're all. You ever watch that's older than you? There was a commercial called. It was a 20 Mule Team. I think they were selling borax, some type of soap powder, but they had all these horses, and so we're all kind of like horses pulling this big wagon. That's kind of what we're doing, but we're doing it because that's what we want to do.
It's very important, very important work.
Yeah.
And I did want to ask, when you brought up the Shooters program and just getting a chance to actually speak with a lot of you know, these young men that, you know, they're been impacted by violence or maybe committing violent acts themselves and getting stopped. What was it like speaking with them?
There was one young man in particular. We had a program one day. It was like a meet and greet. And Greg Hodge was there taking pictures, and this brother, I don't want anybody taking my picture. And I can understand that. And then, I can't think of the young man's name, very, you know, to himself, and you could tell that he was upset. And he says, don't be taking my picture. Don't be taking my picture, so we can take his picture. And then, during the process of this game, before that, I was sitting there, he says, y'all can't teach me shit. I said, okay, we can't teach you shit. And we went through this interactive, kind of a meet and greet interactive game, and the man started smiling. He started smiling, and I said, well, I guess we can teach you something, huh? And he started laughing then. Yeah. So seeing that, that was part of the, that program. The other thing I've been very involved with is the mentoring center. I don't know if you're familiar with the mentoring center. There was a guy named Martin Jacks. Unfortunately, he died too early. He had a program, I'm trying to think exactly what it was called, but his mentoring wasn't one-on-one, it was one-to-many. And through his program, I met a young man named Mutu. Unfortunately, Mutu died. They're having this service tomorrow. And I've worked with a lot of young folks through the mentoring center. So going up to Richmond I wasn't a stranger to that, although the people in Richmond, they were the same age. They had probably a little more violent history than the folks we had at the mentoring center at that time, because they were a little bit younger. But, you know, we have to be willing to reach out and help our young people.
Yeah.
And let them see that you can be successful by not being a criminal. You don't have to be a criminal and make that type of money in order to be successful. And I think that goes a long ways for our people.
I think so.
Especially if you're willing to help and share with them, you know, through the mentoring center, I've helped so many people learn how to read drawings. I mean, I just do a lot of that stuff. So, you know, so I'm willing to help. You know, if you show that you want to learn, yeah. So.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. And I think sometimes that disconnect comes from maybe one generation that's willing to teach but doesn't necessarily see the students there, and then the students being kind of hesitant, or younger folks being more hesitant to even ask. Right. Because they've maybe been rebuffed before. Or in your case, when you were talking about when you were going through a lot of your schooling, just having a lot of teachers that weren't really receptive to helping you in that type of way.
Right. And the other part is working with young folks. I've had different brothers through the mentoring center. They want people to respond to information. They want people to respond to information a certain way. If when they don't, the person who's sharing information gets upset and says, "I'm gonna take my ball and go home." You know, so you have to be willing to accept the fact that not everybody is going to pick up and do the way that you think they should do it.
Right.
You know, and so that's really a big issue.
Yeah.
You know, letting folks learn, because some folks, I mean, you know, I'm a father. My son, he's still learning lessons, and he said, "Dad, now I understand when you told me." I said, "Yeah, well, you know, it's 3-4 years later, but he's still."
Yeah.
So that's, you know, you have to be open to that.
No, but that's very true. How did you get involved with the Brotherhood of Elders Network?
Well, one of the founders, Arnold Perkins, and I went to high school together.
Oh, cool.
And in fact, we even worked at the San Francisco Foundation several years back. But Arnold called me up. It had just gotten started and said, "Brother Joe, I'd like you to come to this Saturday meeting that we've been having once a month. Just some brothers kicking ideas around about what we're going to do with ourselves and how we ought to be sharing information and having an interest in what's happening to these black boys." Makes a lot of sense to me. So I showed up, and I've been there ever since, and that's about 12 or 13 years ago. And what do I think about the impact?
Yes. How's it impacted your life?
It has been in line with what I have been describing, and even magnified it, and even made it more important and manageable and achievable in terms of some of the things that I would like to see happen. Just a small example, which is not a small example at all. I never thought that I would have a circle of relationships that I could call family as large as 45 plus black men, some of whom could be my sons, some of whom could be my grandsons. But I actually never imagined that I would have that kind of connection with that many black men, and not only them, but also their families, their wives, their spouses, their partners. So, I mean, what more could you ask for to have that kind of connection? I mean, imagine if you got into some kind of trouble or jam, that you have at least 45 people that you could call on. Yeah. And that you could depend on them doing something if they could, to show up and to be there in one form or another. The other thing is this whole idea of a connection and a gathering of intergenerational black men. I mean, I'm 80 years old, and I'm at a table where I can learn from somebody 25 or 30 years old. That I am ready to listen to what they have to say, and they're more than ready to listen to what I have to say. That's powerful. That's powerful. So imagine that. Intergenerational connection. We're ready to go into battle.
I hear that. No, it's definitely it's good that there is that intergenerational connection. I think a lot of cases that's missing from either some of these mentorship groups and other places where it's maybe one side is willing to give and the other side isn't necessarily listening, or is discounting it for one reason or another. So it's good that that bond is there. It's been able to be fostered over years, as you mentioned, 12 or 13 years being part of the network.
But there's also an uphill battle with it all. So we've been talking about my journey. So everybody's journey has its own twists and turns and forks in the road. So we're sharing these journeys is a process in and of itself to get everybody, and there's no such thing as getting everybody on the same page. There is such a thing as being on a page and knowing that there's something about that connects you that will allow you to be successful on the road ahead.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we are.
I hear that. No, when did you become involved with the Brotherhood of Elders Network?
It's been about, this is my 11th or 12th year now, man. I was sitting in a workshop that Baba Arnold and his wife were doing. I'd never met Arnold Perkins before, man. So it was a 2-day session, and the end of the second day, he goes, brother, would you be interested, and this was one of the first retreats that they had. He invited me to the retreat, man. I had never, been to any of our Saturday meetings yet, but my first experience was at a retreat. I said, yeah, man, it's a number of like-minded brothers, getting together, trying to help young men and boys, black boys in the Bay Area. I said, cool, all right, no problem. So I'm indebted to Baba Arnold, man. But come to find out that Baba Arnold does reconnaissance, man. So he knew about the work I was doing in Richmond. And I felt very worthy, man, that he chose me to join the group, man. And that's an overview of all the brothers in the network right now, man. Very capable brothers that are concerned about black men and the community. And their history has been such, man. I met some brothers in the network before I was in the network through some other things I was doing. Dr. Wade Nobles. I was in Orlando, Florida, man. And I was at a workshop that he did on black families in Oakland. And he and Dr. Lawford Goddard. When I got back to the Bay Area, man, said, man, you might be interested in this program called HAWK training, High Achievement, Wisdom, and Knowledge. And this was a rites of passage process that Dr. Noble and Dr. Goddard put together. So I came back, man, took the training, became a certified HAWK trainer. And when we first started meeting, an offshoot of the Elders Network, we were meeting brothers in Richmond through their Office of Neighborhood Safety. And Dr. Nobles and I were just talking one time, man. I said, Dr. Nobles, check this out, man. I'm HAWK accredited. He goes, man, what are you talking about? I said, man, I'm from the class of such and such. He goes like, oh, man, I can't believe this. I said, man, I've been using your curriculum in the black and brown community, okay? So fast forward, it was a couple of months later, man, and I was in this thing called the Health Conductors, which was a group of individuals being taught the importance of having a healthy community. Well, come to find out, one of the founding members, Dr. Woody Carter, was one of the people, along with Baba Arnold, that started this Health Conductor thing. And then Brother Jim Hill his agency did the public relations thing for it. And I had never met these brothers. I had met them before, but when I got to the network and saw these brothers, I said, damn, man, these brothers doing something, man. Yeah. So, that's how I got started, man. But it's amazing, man, over these, 11 plus years, man, that the brothers that I've come in contact with, their experiences in terms of being serious about helping black people, man. That's the foundation for all the brothers that are serious that's in the network right now, man. Because we go back to Brother Cole working down with voter registration down south, man, and we go with Brother Joe Brooks, Republic of New Africa. I go with brothers that was in the Panthers, brothers that was doing a whole lot of stuff, man, trying to make things better for us. And it was really, really crazy, man, when we sit up and talk about the experience, like, damn, man, I read about Brother Joe Brooks in the Republic of New Africa when I was in college, man,
Wow. Yeah.
which was wild, okay? And some of the things that Brother Cole was doing with the voter registration down south and stuff, man, like, damn, man, I read about them brothers, man, not knowing them. And now I know them. You know, they part of the network, man.
Yeah.
So these some powerful brothers, man, but they've been on it a long time, man, you know. But it was, I always kind of kicked back for a minute and I'm like, damn, man, these brothers is part of history as far as African Americans on this continent, man, you know, seriously. And the impact that they've had is just tremendous, man. So I'm just grateful to be with these brothers, man, and thankful that Brother Arnold saw something in me that he felt that I could hang with him, you know.
I hear that.
Yeah.
No, that's very powerful. That just being able to have that experience and have other people that are like-minded that you can count on are all geared towards the same goal overall.
Yeah, literally, man, literally.
Yeah.
But it's a powerful group from brothers, man. You know, not only Bay area-wide, but nationwide, man. You know, powerful brothers, man. So I'm thankful to be a part of them, man. I really am.
I hear that. Was there any committees or anything in particular within the organization that or network that you, I guess, geared to you more or that you were more interested in?
Yeah, I'm part of the Health and Wellness subcommittee, man, yeah, along with Brother Quayle
Okay.
and other brothers too. Just to make sure, man, that we identify the importance of taking care of ourselves, man. You know, we've done a couple of sessions related to the brain, heart, spirit, eating right, you know, drinking your water, the whole thing and stuff. But just recognizing the importance of spirit as it relates to taking care of yourself and being a little bit more mindful of that. Brother Tony from here did an excellent piece on how the brain works, man, and the impact of systemic racism and how to respond to it and the whole thing and stuff that also I was able to take in other areas that to share with people to let them know what was happening on a bunch of different issues, man. But yeah, Health and Wellness Committee has been the biggest one that I've been affiliated with out of the other, I think we've got 5 or 6 other subcommittees.
Yeah. I'm going to shift gears here and ask you about when you became involved with the Brotherhood of Elders Network.
Yeah, thank you. I got to tell you, getting in touch with the Brotherhood has been one of the greatest things in my life. It really has been. I was in my 70s when I met the Brotherhood.
Oh, wow.
Even though I knew some of the people, I didn't know that it existed. And a friend of mine, a lifelong friend of mine from kindergarten, that I've known all my life. Her name happens to be Roscoe Dellums. We've just been in touch, you know, over the years, and we were talking, and she knows that I know Joe Brooks, and knew him anyway when we were younger, and she also knew that I knew Arnold Townsend because I went to high school with both those guys. And she just mentioned to me, she says, I want you to call Joe and see about going to this little group that he has. And that was the Brotherhood, you know, and meeting down at Policy Link. And so I gave Joe a call and, yeah, come on down and check the meeting out. So I went to my first meeting and he asked me, he said, well, what do you think of this? And I said, man, this is the hippest thing I've been involved in a long time. I said, to be around people who've got, you know, the same kind of aspirations, the same kind of concerns, the same kind of beefs. I mean, really, people who are willing to raise issues and do it in an intelligent way, and come up with, you know, bold and exciting ideas on how to get something done, how to do something, how to make stuff happen. You know, how to point out problems and call them to public attention. How to come up with, you know, the fact how to come up with things like the idea for a Department of Violence Prevention as an alternative to put up with the Oakland Police Department, which is something that also, I should have mentioned, is something that was a part of my childhood all the way through it. Oakland Police was something that nobody wanted to be involved in. Nobody. They were dangerous, they were brutal. My father worked for the city of Oakland. He started out as a carpenter, and when he retired, he was in building maintenance. And one of the last projects that he worked on was the replacement of the City Hall elevator. And at the top of the City Hall, there was a jail, a small jail up there. When they took that elevator out of the elevator shaft, they found more than 300 empty wallets.
What?
Yeah, 300 wallets at the bottom of the jail elevator. Think about it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I said, Dad, well, what did you do? He said, what could we do? Go to the police? You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Oakland Police Department, and it's the same department. You know, it's just gradually evolved over the years. And, you know, they've gotten some politically astute chiefs in there, but the nature of the department as a whole is essentially the same. It hasn't really changed that much.
Wow.
And it's dangerous. What can I say? So the Department of Violence Prevention, that was largely spearheaded by the Brotherhood and many allies, is just one example of why getting involved with the Brotherhood has been so exciting to me. It's just so much talent and so much, so much creativity. Great thinkers and people who constantly show up. It's really important.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
Yeah, it does. It does. No, I mean, in just the 3 or 4 years that I've been involved with the Brotherhood, I've seen, tremendous leaps and bounds in terms of like us having impact and having influence. I mean, we had a big hand in this this budget that just got passed, a huge hand. A lot more influence to exercise than we were exercising, 4 years ago. That's for sure. And the Brotherhood is known, and people expect leadership from the Brotherhood. I mean, we're established that way, and it's just a tremendous vehicle to make a contribution. To be involved, to make things happen. And it's nice to whip the mayor on a money issue. I really, because she's been really disingenuous to us as a community. So we'll see where it goes. But again, being involved in the Brotherhood has just been a great thing. I mean, when people are in their late 70s, they're kind of done, for the most part. I don't feel that way anymore. I feel like I've always got something to pay attention to, something to get involved in, something to speak up on. Yeah.
That's excellent.
And they're great people. What can I say? Yeah.
It's definitely a good group.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How did you become involved in the neighborhood safety program? What was
Yeah, well, Devon Bogan, who was the director of Office of Neighborhood Safety, requested that the Brotherhood of Elders come in to serve as some mentors for some of the brothers that they had chosen that were identified as potential shooters within the city of Richmond. So Devon asked the network to come in and kind of mentor these brothers. the first session that we as a membership came with them, we had dinners every Wednesday once a month. We had dinners. So the first encounter, them youngsters cussed us out, man. What's these old dudes doing here, man? We don't need them, blah, 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 blah. So, okay, well, that's cool. So I was kind of the Richmond liaison because I live and work in Richmond. Yeah. By the fourth session, them brothers had embraced the network so-called because we came in there, first of all, letting them know that, you know, we cared about them as human beings, but we exposed them to different things too. You know, we did some trust drills. We did some historical drills that these brothers had no idea about. And by the sixth session, man, they were looking forward to seeing us. You know, we fed them. We had just a fellowship, and also supporting not only the young brothers that were part of the cohorts, but supporting the staff of the Office of Neighborhood Safety too, because they needed some direction and some, I think, some validation and support. And a lot of brothers that's in the network now, they professionals, they're very, very accomplished, but all of them are neighborhood brothers, man.
Yeah.
So there ain't too many things that have jumped up in the neighborhood that these brothers ain't experienced either.
Yeah.
So the youngsters thought that they was coming at us as the old dudes and something. Nah, man, that ain't new, bruh.
Yeah, been there, done that, right?
literally. But let's try to do you in this direction. But
Right.
it turned out so positive, man. We also included the art of being a black man as part of their curriculum from the network.
Excellent.
I want to throw that in too. So yeah, Brother Jason and Brother Dean and a couple other brothers went in with workshops with the art of being a black man. But consequently, we had their first cohort, man. It turned out successful, man. There's a couple of brothers out of that cohort that are still working now. They went on to go to college and be successful.
Oh, good for
You know,
them.
yeah. But I think, like I said, the first couple of sessions, man, they cussed us out, man. We was all kind of old, listen, we ain't listening to y'all and this kind of stuff too. But when they saw how genuine we were, it's like, hey, man, you know, these some cool old dudes, man. And plus they care about us, you know. So subsequently it was a real big growth and development between that particular relationship. Also, one of the staff people that was part of the Office of Neighborhood Safety, the network helped funded him with his startup hot dog stand. And man, homeboy turned out from that one little seed money, got 3 different stands now, and he's doing his own thing and stuff. But that was, again, a result of his relationship with the network.
Wow.
So we impacted their staff and the young people that we work with too. Yeah. So yeah, that was one of the first big neighborhood things that we actually did. But I was very, very thankful that Office of Neighborhood Safety started in Richmond, and that's where I work, man. So I worked with their staff. I worked with Devon. I worked with the youngsters in the cohorts as well, and I'd work with some of their family members too. So they already knew about what I brought to the table, you know, in terms of being genuine and also making sure that we could do the best for them. But we had a big impact on those brothers, man, you know, and I'm very, very thankful for it too. And the brothers got a lot out of it too. You know, it was a mutual thing, man. It really was mutual. And they developed some lifelong relationships with those brothers, man. So yeah, that's how we got started, and that's how it developed, and very, very positive working relationship between the network and Office of Neighborhood Safety in Richmond.
Interesting. And I'm just curious, one of the things you mentioned of just how they initially received you versus 6 classes or courses in. What were some, I guess, of the icebreakers, I guess, that got through the initial kind of defense?
Well, we had an exercise that Brother Jim Hill brought out, and I think it was like a hot potato, you know, real quick and stuff. But the thing about it is, we were faster than the young brothers to start off with in terms of the process. So they're like, damn, man, these old dudes is blah, 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 blah. And then they honed in on different things. And then when they initially were able to master it, it's like, oh, man, you know why? And then Brother Jim Hill would come in and say, well, this is like working together. And this is an example of this, and this is an example of this, blah, blah, blah. And then Dr. Nobles came in, man, and he did a powerful, powerful piece on words and how it impacts us and how we use words to either tear us down or build us up, or words that were thrown at us as black people that was supposed to be demeaning and that kind of stuff too. And then brothers left that session, man, it's like, wow, man. First of all, I didn't know about that. And second of all, I need to think about how I talk and how I speak to black people. You know, how I relate to them. So everybody ain't, you know, everybody ain't one of them.
Right.
And where one of them originated from, and it didn't originate from us. So those were two real powerful things that turned them brothers around, man. But yeah, you talk to Jim Hill about that activity, and he'll say he saw a turnaround on those brothers at that point too. And then Dr. Nobles came there with that knowledge for them, man, and practical knowledge too. You know, everyday stuff that they weren't aware of, that they were kind of perpetrating stuff, you know. But he brought it to their attention, man. It was like, oh man, I never looked at it like that. I said, yeah, man, come on, man, you know. But Dr. Nobles is so smooth with his stuff, you know. He made it practical, and he also made the brothers go read some more stuff or go check some more stuff out to see exactly how this is an impact on you and how you can make it better and stuff too, you know. So yeah, those are two big things that I remember, man, that it was like, wow, man, these brothers came back. And then a couple of times when we had to postpone and do something else, oh, what happened to them brothers, you know, because I was still in Richmond all the time, and I would still be in contact with them. Oh man, well, we had to just cancel this one, but we'll be back on this one, and you know, the support will be back, man. But yeah, they really look forward to us being there on those Wednesdays, man. And the food was good. The sister that was our caterer was always knocked it out, man. So we had good fellowship, good food, and good knowledge.
Excellent.
Yeah, and it also brought in some other brothers in the Richmond area that worked with young people too. We had some clergy there, and also some other community people that got a chance to see what was happening. But the cold part about it, Brother Spence, on that piece, not only the impact that the network had on ONS, but the impact that ONS had on violence reduction in the city of Richmond, man.
Yeah.
They did an excellent job, man, because you know, Richmond was kind of wild for a while, man.
Yeah.
But they came in there and they cut the gun violence down to a little, and then I think it's maybe about 3 or 4 years ago now, man, that Richmond had the lowest homicide rate that they had in like 50-something years, man. Yeah. And people was trying to say it was the police, and I'll say, nah, man, it's Officer of Neighborhood Safety. Yeah. Them brothers and sisters out there on the front line, addressing these issues and helping these brothers and sisters out, man. You know, so yeah, it was something I'm very proud of to be a part of, man. You know, because I know that we went in there and gave them brothers some knowledge, man, and also some purpose too. You know, so man, you see these old dudes have made some contributions, man. Yeah. And the fact that they've come to spend their time with you and give some of that knowledge, you know, just soak it up, man. You know, soak it up, man. Because these brothers are accomplished in all areas. You know, they really are. But the fact that we let them know that we cared about them helped along the lines too. You know, so very, very proud of that collaboration, man.
Excellent.
Very proud.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing that.
That's all good. I'm glad Brother Cole brought it up, man. Yeah, because that's a big check mark that we could put off as what the network was able to do to impact some stuff, man. You know, so, wow. That was a cold time, man. You know, we had a good time with them brothers. Had a real good time with them.
I hear that. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you.